We have now met many examples of zygomorphic flowers across several families, which provide excellent examples of this key direction or development in floral evolution. We've looked at the mint and snapdragon families, the orchids and the pea family, each of which has developed its own distinctive model or pattern of zygomorphic design independently of the others. In the mint family, we've looked now at marjoram, thyme itself, we've looked at mint, we've looked at marsh woundwort, self-heal, ground ivy and a number of others. But there is no more elegant example of a zygomorphic blossom than the dead nettles, of which by far the most common species is the red dead nettle, which is found in almost any garden and in just about any patch of recently disturbed ground. Red dead nettle is the very model of a zygomorphic flower, moulded by evolution over tens of millions of years from a star-like radially symmetrical five-petalled ancestor to a two-lipped bilaterally symmetrical flower with concealed nectar that only bees can conveniently reach, and which faces sideways so that the bee has to approach from a predetermined side. And the lower part of the corolla is fused to form a flask in which nectar is secreted and stored. Here is the lower lip of the flower, sculpted by evolution into a landing platform. You see the way it's split into two mirror image halves, looking just like the wings of a butterfly. The purple splotches on either wing a hint as to where insect feet might conveniently settle. Immediately above these are two darker streaks, one on either side of a deep groove that precisely directs the bee's proboscis and keeps it centered for maximally efficient transfer of pollen. The upper lip is a sheltering hood with two pairs of stamens neatly packaged underneath, one pair in front of the other, the anthers splitting to expose the startlingly orange-coloured pollen within. Between them is the forked stigma, which will contact the bee as soon as it enters the flower, picking up pollen the visitor may have brought from another red dead nettle before being dusted with a new coating as it sucks the nectar in the bottom of the tube. Apart from its function in precise placement of the stamens and stigma for maximum pollination efficiency, the upper lip is a helmet that keeps the pollen dry during rain, enabling the flower to stay open when many other flowers have to close. Inside the narrow entrance is a wide chamber, the walls of which are ribbed with purple lines, invisible from the outside, that converge on the narrow throat at the back of the chamber, and in the ceiling are two parallel purple lines that lead down into this narrow tube. These directing purple arrows end abruptly at a dense curtain of hairs that grow out from the walls of the tube, meeting in the middle, which acts as a lid on the nectar, which only the tongue of a bee can penetrate. You can see all this for yourself if you have a small sharp scissors and a hand lens. All you have to do is snip away the upper lip with its stamens and stigma like that, and then the lower lip like that, and you can peer inside with your hand lens. It's like taking the door off the inner chamber and seeing what the bee's eyes see over the threshold. And if you want to see the frilly curtain that covers the nectar well, all you need to do is to lift off the petal tube like that. It's caducous, which means that it comes away without tearing, and you can see the lid just inside the hole at the bottom of the tube. Red dead nettle is edible, but it was usually only eaten in times of scarcity in soup or pottage, usually mixed with other herbs. but it had several important medicinal applications, particularly for use as a vulnerary, to treat wounds or hemorrhages, and a tea sweetened with honey was often prescribed for chills. On the farm, the boiled roots made excellent food for pigs. Most of the wildflowers we've met on our wildflower outings are treated in more detail in the Wildflowers of Offaly. There's a lot of more detail, for example, about red dead-nettle on pages 418 and 419. But what I would really recommend is that you get hold of a good hand lens to see the flower, this wonderful flower, at bee's eye magnification. And what you see will help you maybe to understand or appreciate why it is that Francis of Assisi instructed his gardeners to leave room among the vegetables for the flowers, many of which arrived uninvited, without permission or passport. Because, if I may be permitted to loosely paraphrase what he meant, the mystery of their making is a clue to the riddle of the world's meaning.